Girl, tonight we're gonna make love. You know how I know? Because it's Wednesday. And Wednesday night is the night that we usually make love. Monday night is my night to cook. Tuesday night we go and visit your mother. But Wednesday we make sweet weekly love. It's when everything is just right. There's nothing good on TV. You haven't had your after-work social sports team practice, so you're not too tired. Oh, it's all on. You lean in and whisper something sexy in my ear like, I might go to bed now, I've got work in the morning. I know what you're trying to say, girl. You're trying to say, oh yeah, it's business time. It's business time. It's business. It's business time. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say it's time for business. It's business time. Ooh, it's business. It's business time. Oh, yeah. Then went in the bathroom, brushing our teeth. That's all part of the foreplay. I love foreplay. A shake, a shake, a shake, a shake, a shake, a shake. Ow, ow, ow. And you sort out the recycling. That isn't part of the foreplay process, but it is still very important. Next thing you know, we're in the bedroom. You're wearing that baggy old ugly t-shirt you got from your work several years ago. You know the one, baby, with the curly stain. I remove my clothes very, very clumsily, tripping sensuously over my pants. Now I'm naked, except for my socks, and you know when I'm down to just my socks, what time it is. It's business. It's business time. You know when I'm down to my socks, it's time for business. That's why they call business. It's business. It's business time. Yeah. Make a love. Make a love for. Make a love for two. Make a love for 2 minutes. When it's with me, girl, you only need 2 minutes. Because I'm so intense. You whisper something sexy like, is that it? I know what you're trying to say, girl. You're trying to say, oh yeah, that's it. And you tell me you want some more. Well, I'm not surprised. But I'm quite sleepy. It's business. It's business time. Business hours are over, baby. It's business.
And good morning to you. It is Wednesday. It is the Under 4 Fan, and Wednesdays are the days that me and Jeffrey usually make love. Jeffrey, how's it going over there, buddy?
Great. Mother-in-law got in safe and sound last night. It was a long 10 days, but you know, as a collective, we made it through. You know, people cursed each other out. You know, there may or may not have been things thrown at babies throughout the course of it. Here we are.
Stuffed animals, of course, not sharp objects.
Nothing like that. And it wasn't even at a baby. It was in the vicinity of a baby, you know.
Speaking of babies, so we watched this series on Apple TV called Servant.
Okay.
Have you heard of it or seen it?
I think I've heard of it.
It's a 4-season series by M. Night Shyamalan. And it is weird as you would expect.
Yeah, he's a weird dude.
You know, it was actually pretty good, but it got to the point where, like, okay, like let's wrap this up in a bow tie here. You know what I mean? Like, So we finished that last night. I would recommend it. You know, there's not much out there as far as good stuff, especially like seasons to keep you entertained over the time. So I would say I recommend it. But yeah, there's some times you're just like, what's going on over there? With that being said, what's going on over there?
I don't know. Yeah, I have I have like 3 more episodes of Billions actually that I've been watching, but I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty lately, honestly.
You know, I have to, I downloaded F1 2024.
Okay.
And I'm waiting on my setup, my steering wheel and all this. But I'm waiting because I don't know if I told you or not. I'm going under the knife tomorrow. So I'm getting my right arm sliced and diced.
No,
so I won't be able to use the steering wheel for months anyway. So
I mean, I think you told me that you had to do it, but I didn't remember.
Yeah, it's scheduled tomorrow. So if I never see you guys again, it was a good run.
Are you nervous?
I could care less.
Is it outpatient or are you
outpatient?
There, outpatient. Okay.
Outpatient. Give me the good drugs. That's all I care about.
Heard that.
What are you gonna do? Well, let's get into it. We do have a few things to discuss.
Get sliced and diced, and then figure it out, bro. You know, I mean, listen. I hope all the best for you. I do want to before we start. Let's just preface this with a caveat. Breaking news right now. Rest in peace to Jerry West, who just passed away at the age of 86 years old. Obviously, the logo. Obviously, a huge part in multiple franchises. Growth and title runs and championships, and may him and his family find peace.
Yeah,
and
not change the logo.
No, Marcus Lima.
Yes.
And Patricia Coutinho.
We're just in shambles.
I don't
know what else to say.
I'm just trying to decipher.
I don't know, man. My father-in-law just walked by me naked with a toolkit. The shower's running, so I'm not really sure what's going
on. Do you need to step away for a minute?
I don't actually. I'm ready to do this. Let's get into some sports talk. With that being said,
thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Marcus. I needed that this morning.
I didn't at all. I've never needed it. Anyway, yeah.
Good morning, Marcus. Welcome in, buddy. Welcome in. So the Celtics do take a commanding 2-0 lead on the Mavs, who have just looked in absolute shambles out there. This Boston Celtics team is obviously very, very deep. Peyton Pritchard coming back, hitting the last second half-court shot, which was his only points of the game. Jaylen Brown, who's the other white guy that they have that looks like Gordon, but not? Yeah, Hauser. He played some really, really good minutes. Of course, Kristaps Porzingis does what he did game 1. Game 2, not so much. A little, it wasn't the dominance that we saw, but he didn't have to. Jason Tatum distributing, Jaylen Brown doing Jaylen Brown things, and then I can't think of the other guy's name. The one they just traded for from the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday stepping it up as well. I just think that team is just too deep. Luka is still doing Luka things, still putting up his numbers. The person that we haven't seen yet from the Dallas Mavericks is Kyrie Irving on the offensive side. He's still doing Kyrie Irving things on the defensive side. But I mean, if you got Luka putting up 30 and Kyrie putting up 8 to 10, I don't know about that.
Well, I don't. I think I said this before. I don't know where the answers come for the Mavericks here. Obviously, there's a huge piece of this, which is Porzingis getting injured with a kind of like a freak injury. It looks like he's day to day, so not sure. Questionable to play tonight. We'll keep it monitored to see what happens.
With that being said, before we move on from that, would you even play him tonight?
Yes, absolutely.
See, now to me, I look at like what his impact off the bench was again, game 2. Game 1, huge impact, right? Huge impact. Game 2, not so much. But you didn't need him. I just think that Boston is so deep. Are you really worried about losing game 3? I know you want to put your foot on the throat, right?
If you win game 3, the series is over, right? Like if you win tonight, you might as well just go ahead and mail it in. It is. I think the series is over.
Let me ask you this: as the Boston Celtics,
this could be a gentleman's
like
sweep where Dallas wins tonight, and then the Celtics.
Correct. So what I'm saying, if you're the Boston front office and you're the head coach there, do you really think that you can't beat this Mavs team so far without Kristaps Porzingis? I would feel pretty damn good going into Dallas even without him. I mean, look at what they've done throughout the playoffs without him.
Yeah,
well,
I understand
that if he can play, but if there's any question about whether or not he could potentially, let's just say that he goes out there and pushes it with this tear, right? And then he tears it fully and is out the rest of the year. I think that's your worst case scenario. I just feel like, the Mavs have kept it kind of close, but garbage time and, what was allowed in the last 2 minutes of the last game, of course, to cover the spread and things of that nature, whatever. I just feel like without Porzingis, the way that they've just dominated through the finals and all the way up to it, I think they win without him. There's just so many other people. Al Horford can step up and cover whatever role Kristaps Porzingis is. He's not going to be the offensive prowess that he has, but he can still hit that corner 3, which they leave him open for all the time. He's still a great distributor of the football, the great distributor of the basketball. I just feel like there's no point. I really just feel like there's no point to what you're saying. Of course, if you win game 3, the series is over. But I think there's a lot of people in Boston already feel the series is over. So imagine how deflated they would be if you win and beat them game 3 without Porzingis as well. I think then it's like, just pack it up, bro. All right, we're gonna let you celebrate in Dallas. It's it. Going to Cancun with LeBron. We're gonna help him search for his head coach, and then we'll go out from there.
So Justice has this little. If anybody wants the tail, we'll throw it up there for you. He's taking Dallas money line tonight, over on Tatum boards, over on Derek White's points, over on Luka's rebounds, and maybe Jaylen Brown's over on points and over on Al Horford threes.
If you don't parlay them all, I don't want to talk to you about it.
He is parlaying them all. Yeah, of course. It's true degenerate fashion. So this series is kind of played out the way that I thought it would. The real problem is that you can't have your rim protectors getting pulled out of the paint like that and not have a guy who can stop the ball up top. And neither Kyrie nor Luka are the best defenders in the world. And Luka is a terrible defender. So
I will say Kyrie's up there in defense. When he wants to turn it on, he's like silver flies on shit.
Okay. Sure.
Can he keep that up? But here's to your point though. Can he keep that up and be the offensive prowess that he needs to be as well? I mean, that's a lot of energy on both sides of the ball. When you look at Luka, obviously he's conserving energy on the defensive side. I mean,
I think the 3-time just gave us this stat. Kyrie still hasn't hit a 3 in the NBA Finals yet. I think he's now 0-13 against the Celtics since leaving them and since stomping on the logo and so on and so forth. So you can say the sage. Yeah, you can say you don't believe in conspiracy theories or you don't believe in luck or stuff like that. Proof's kind of in the pudding so far. Now let's see what happens.
I think he shows up tonight.
But unless Luka decides to play defense up top, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown just blowing right past them over and over again, as well as Drew Holiday getting into the paint, mixing it up, people collapsing and then shooting, kicking it out to wide open 3-point shooters. Listen, that's a recipe for disaster. Now you can say, well, that happened all game last game, and Boston still shot 25.6% from 3-point land. And let me tell you something. They were atrocious from 3-point land, and they were crushing them and let them kind of get on a little run at the very end to make it interesting or whatever. But it wasn't a game. Like if Boston actually plays well, if Tatum actually shows up, something that we haven't seen this series yet, I mean, it's a wrap, bro. Like they haven't played well, and they've dominated the first 2 games. So I think it's a wrap regardless. I don't see a path where Dallas has a way back from this.
But these are the games that you think about, right? Like what we're talking about, like it's a wrap, right? It's over. And these are the games where all of a sudden Dallas comes out and wins by 15.
Okay. And what? Who cares?
No, just the one game. Just the one game. We're talking about the series as a wrap. I'm talking about the game. But yeah, I just don't see it. So let me ask you this, what are your expectations for Dallas tonight, heading back home, down 0-2, and to your point, this is obviously a must-win game for Dallas. What are your expectations for them?
My expectations are for Dallas to win, obviously. I mean, listen, you can't score under 100 points and expect to win this basketball game. That is not going to be a recipe for success for you. You have to do what the Pacers did. You have to speed up the Celtics and try to jump on them. The Celtics are really good, though. But listen, I think if you're asking me what I think will happen, right?
No, I'm just asking what are your expectations for the Mavs specifically?
Specifically, exactly for the Mavericks. I expect Luka to play very well. I expect Kyrie to play a lot better. I expect me rocking the Team Kyrie shirt tonight is about to be wild.
In Boston, yeah, good luck.
I don't. You don't care about your health. I'm convinced of it because every time I see you, you're with a bunch of white people wearing something that is antagonizing them. I worry sometimes. That's all I'm going to say, especially in Boston. If you were in Florida, I wouldn't worry about you at all. But you're in Boston. I worry about you. I love you. I care about you.
He does seem to have a glutton for punishment. Maybe that's just bold pushing the limits of the system.
Maybe, which is fine. We love that. We respect that. I will say this. I do think there is a chance that Boston ends up sweeping them 4-0.
Oh, of course. I think that would be the odds-on favorite right now.
And I thought that was a chance. Now they won 14 more games. This is a mismatch to me in every way in the series. I have a ton of action out there on Boston, so I'm also. You love to get the blood boiling on people. I can understand that, Justice. So I do have a little bit of bias here as well. I'm not going to hide that fact. But I don't see a path. I don't see a path to them.
Boston 4-1 is the favor bet, but 4-0 is only 30 points behind, plus 210 to plus 240. So yeah.
Now, if you would have bet it before the series started, the sweep, that would have been, good money for you. But, I don't know who's doing that.
Oh, nice.
It also seems to me like Jason Kidd's just getting out coached here. Am I wrong to say that?
I don't know if it's an out coach, but I mean, I just think that, when you look at the Dallas Mavericks, you have Kyrie and you have Luka. You have Derek Lively that's been playing out of his ass as a rookie 20-year-old out of Duke that has just been putting up some great numbers, hustle plays. And, also I did find out, he just lost his mom a few weeks ago. I didn't know that, or a month ago or something of that nature. But he was playing out of his ass, right? So when I look at the Dallas Mavericks, I say, okay, well, if Kyrie doesn't do Kyrie, who's picking up the tab? Who's picking it up? I just don't see it. You have on Boston, you have Jason Tatum. If Jason Tatum doesn't pick it up, who else? Jaylen Brown. If Jaylen Brown doesn't do it, Derek White. Derek White doesn't do it. You have Al Horford. You have Kristaps Porzingis. You have like I said, even Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench. The kid is just running all around, swiping at people. He can shoot the shots. You got Drew Holiday. I mean, there's just so many players that can pick it up. And when I look at the Dallas Mavericks, I see Kyrie and Luka with a splash of Derek Lively. I don't see anybody else. I just see those two. Now, of course, in the NBA, with the way that this all goes and defenses and pick and rolls and lackluster defense, maybe that's all you need is those two. But as we've seen out of the first two games, if one of them isn't producing at the highest level, it's just not going to work, which should happen in the NBA Finals anyway. If your best players aren't producing at the highest level, you're not going to win. I just don't see how anybody is going to do anything with the Boston Celtics with as deep as they are. It's been a mid-season championship for the Boston Celtics from the beginning. They've been the best team since the start of the NBA to the finals. Yeah. And they're just going to put Brad Stevens, what a roster. Let's not also forget he just traded Marcus Smart, right? For not only just, and that was a little bit of thing out there. He got Kristaps Porzingis plus 2 first-round picks for Marcus Smart. Well, I mean, to the Memphis Grizzlies, I believe, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, what a front office. Joe Mazzulla, I remember the deadheads of Stephen A saying, well, who fears Joe Mazzulla in the playoffs? Well, I think you guys need to start adjusting your tune a little bit because what he's doing with this team, he's got him dialed in. We've all talked about, Billy Donovan. Tom Thibodeau even has struggled when you have multiple superstars on a team to be able to get them to play cohesiveness. And when you listen to Jaylen Brown after the games and the interviews that he talks about, that team to me seems like they are just gelling. And I don't think there's anything that Dallas Mavericks can do. I think it's just going to be a freight train. If Dallas picks up one, I would consider that a win, Mark Cuban, if they pick up one. And I don't even think that that's something I would even hang my head low on. I really don't. That team is an absolute juggernaut. When you got Eric White, who's just draining threes. Now, he didn't have necessarily the best game in game 2, but draining threes throughout the playoffs as your number 3 option. I mean, give me a break.
Speaking of Mark Cuban, did you see Portnoy was sitting courtside for the game?
I did with his Kyrie clown shirt.
Kyrie clown shirt on. And Shaq comes up to Portnoy. I'll say Cuban comes up to Portnoy and goes, "Hey, man, lay off Kyrie. I'm telling you right now, lay off Kyrie or else." Walks away.
Else what?
Portnoy's just laughing.
What, you going to ban him from going to a Mavericks game?
Shaq comes up. "Hey, man, lay off Angel Reese right now. I'm telling you." I'm like, damn. Like, okay. Or what? Like,
you gonna beat me up, Shaq? Okay.
Wow. And I love Shaq. Like, I love what he's done.
Are these confirmed reports? Is this something that we've seen on television?
This is Portnoy's word for word.
Oh. Well, some of the stuff that he says is not necessarily, I'm not going to say politically correct, but he does have a very asshole Boston way about going about saying things. And, when you have people that, and I will say, I think he had a whole get Kyrie's head campaign, I do believe, right? Like, and he's been going after him for years, as far as ever since he left Boston. So I don't know. But what are you going to do? I mean, you going to do Roger Goodell him? You going to ban him from going to Mavs games?
The Angel Reese thing is funny to me, though. It's like lay off Angel Reese.
Well, we're going to get into WNBA again. I can't. This has got to be some kind of a record. Is this 3 weeks in a row or 4 shows in a row? My good. We're not right now. Right now, I need to marinate a little bit here. Let's move on to some really good playoff stuff. The NHL is obviously on fire as well. The Florida Panthers take a dominating lead against Edmonton again, 2-0. That game was 1-1 with like 6 minutes to go in the third period of game 2, and ended up being 4-1 Panthers. It's just, I expect to see a different Edmonton team back at home. However, this Panthers team is just way too deep. And, I put this out there when I was talking to you guys because we talked about last week, after Edmonton wins or loses game 1, I was going to look to hedge my bet. Well, Hard Rock had nothing on there. They didn't even put it up, which is really weird. I think they were having problems with their app, but they do have it now. And so if you're looking to hedge anything, the Florida Panthers are minus 500 and the Oilers are plus 350. So very, very easy hedge. I only had 1 unit on it. So, I mean, I could put 0.3 of a unit, cover that no matter what. But you know what? We don't do that in DGen town, at least in this DGen town. We don't do that. We don't hedge shit. We go. Now, if Davey Portnoy, you better be trying to hedge your shit, because you had Scotty Scheffler and Edmonton both at like 150 G's for like 2.1 million. You should have called your boy.
He also has he had the Celtics NBA championship for $1 million too. So it's 6 and 1.
I understand that, but you want to win them all, right?
It is what it is. I've been disappointed that Connor McDavid hasn't really showed up very much so far through the first few games.
He's actually been playing really, really well. If you look at his plus stuff, I mean, he's plus on the category.
Analytics wise, sure.
Yeah, it's just the pucks aren't dropping for these guys, man. The Florida goalie is just out of his mind.
I'll say this. The atmosphere in Canada and in Edmonton for these next few games is going to be absolutely electric. If you would like to, I would probably take both these money lines and parlay them together on Edmonton for the next 2 games, just to bounce back. and make this a series, because I think the NHL would like that as well too, especially with the opportunity now with the NBA looking like it might not be much of a series. Ratings are going to be out there, eyeballs are going to be able to be had. And listen, I fully expect for these ratings to come back for the NBA as some of the worst in the past 40 years. I don't think anybody's really watching. I don't think anybody really
Everyone
cares.
hates Boston outside of Boston.
And it's crazy too, because you got so much young star power. We finally have a new, fresh, NBA finals, and yet people still aren't watching. So I'm not sure where the where they're missing the ball there. But
I think that we can both agree the product. I mean, the product is not A+. I mean, it's just not. You look at when you compare like the NBA to the NHL, and you look at that, like what I was saying, Kyrie doesn't even play defense on the side, right? You do that in the NHL, you're done. Like, offense has to play defense, defense has to play offense. And a lot of the times on the breaks and stuff like that, those are defensemen that are scoring because they're already on the way out. So they have to come in, become an offensive guy to put that goal and put the puck in the net, put it into the zone, all of this stuff. And it's just hustle. Now, granted, they only play for like a minute and a half at most at times, which I always thought when I was really learning about hockey, I was like, what a bunch of pussies. You're only out there for like a minute and you have to have a break. And then I went out there and tried to play. And let me tell you, a minute feels like a damn eternity. So yes, but I mean, it's just a much better product in my opinion. I think that the NHL, the Stanley Cup playoffs are the best playoffs that there are of any sport. And yes, I say that over NFL as well. I just feel like it is so fast. It is so powerful, hitting the whole 9 yards. It's just a much better product in my opinion. When we talk about the NBA and what you're talking about, I fully agree with you. I think that the NBA, regardless of the numbers that they're producing, with TV contracts and continue to get lucrative this, lucrative that, it's just not a good product anymore, in my opinion. I mean, we talked about it before. They had to put an in-season tournament in the middle of the season to keep the players interested.
Yeah, and now Adam Silver wants to expand the league as well too, to make it more teams, which is just going to water it down even more. It's funny. I almost feel like they got to go like a WWE role. Like there's no drama. There's no guys are friends off the court every single year. Everybody hangs out together. Nobody's a rival. Guys team up with their rivals if they are rivals. It's just like there's no
more of the bad boy Pistons versus the Bulls versus Pacers.
I think the reason I'm thinking about this is because did you watch the last season of Billions?
I've watched them all, yeah.
So do you know when they have to get the Russian oligarch into the country and he hires Triple H to figure out how to do the heel turn and make everything work and blah, blah, blah. Like that is like they're missing some kind of something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. And it's funny because these other leagues are doing a lot better. Like we're talking about NHL playoffs. We're talking about WNBA. Yeah, we're leading with NBA because that's what we've grown in love. But is it really entertaining us that much right now?
No.
For
me, it hasn't for a long time. I don't like, to your point, I don't even watch regular season because it doesn't matter.
I watch the Magic because I'm a Magic fan. But
every once in a while, yeah, or if I'll go to like a regular season game just for something to do to get out there, but it's not like I'm glued into the TV. Now, I will say this in all fairness to me, this has happened to me with sports across the board, except for the NFL. Now, also the hockey, I will watch hockey during the regular season because those guys still play. And like the intensity from hockey regular season to playoffs, that jump it's a significant jump, but it's not like anything else. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just a whole different level. But the regular season hockey games are still good. But to me, a lot of it's lost its luster to me. And I was talking to Bianca about this the other day. So, like, I don't even have interest to go watch. Well, the Cubs suck again. Like, my God, they're just absolutely terrible. Maybe it's because my team suck. I don't know. But there's just something about going around a bunch of 25,000 other people who don't give a shit about anything else that's going on in their space. There's going to be, drunk people yelling stupid things, especially if you're a visitor from out of town. You have to bite your tongue, this is good. But then I don't know, man. To me, I think that sports in general are just, I don't know, man.
I always loved about
they
sports.
just don't feel the same.
Sports were always a disconnect from real life. right? Like, it was always like you could tune in and you could just forget about what was going on in the evening news, or forget about what was going on overseas, or whatever it was. You could tune in and just immerse yourself in something else and transport yourself for a certain period of time. And with social media and with what's going on now, we have so much more access to these players in terms of their opinions on everything.
I definitely don't like that.
And it's become, there's no more mystery to it anymore. I don't know. I mean, could you
not that I ever wondered about it before, but I felt the same thing. Recently, I was reading an article. It was something with a Hollywood that made some opinion known. And it's just like, bro, okay, I don't agree with your opinion. That's fine. And I don't hate you for it. But when I just start, when you make it a comment like that, right? And now, like, I'm like, is this dude just a fucking idiot? Like, okay. But then now, like, when I look at him and I see his or theirs or whatever their performance, now all I think about is the comment that they made. I don't know. To your point, like I said, I'm not to the point of shut up and dribble, but at the same token, it's like, to your point, when I watch a game or I go to do something, I want to be removed from stuff, man. I don't want to think about what happened in the news. That's why I stopped watching the news. Timothy Taylor from YouTube, the NBA stopped being entertaining when they made playing defense illegal because the Europeans threatened to stay in the EuroLeague because they felt the 90s NBA was too physical. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but it's hard to deny the premise of what you're saying, because if you bring, are you okay? Are you okay?
My father-in-law just walked by in full gi, ready to go to jiu-jitsu. I do not know what is going on. We are off the rails in my household. That's why I'm like he walked by butt naked with a tool and walks back by with a full-on gi, ready to go to jiu-jitsu. I'm like, what is?
It's in shambles over there at the Schneider household
right now.
But I will say this, you do have a good point. But if you talk to somebody like a JJ Redick, he will argue with you all day long that the offense has had the most regulations versus the defense, that the most changes have been made towards the offense and not the defensive side. But yes, I mean, I don't know, man. When I watched 90s basketball, it was different. I don't know, man. There was something different. There was something different if, like, in today's game, 130-point game versus 130 to 120-point game is considered exciting, all that thing. But to me, there was awesome games that were 88-85 in the 90s that were more entertaining than watching LeBron or AD or anybody else out there. Those are just two that are just they don't come down and they cherry pick, and then the guy just hurls the ball down because, we forgot. They're just standing down there because they didn't want to come down and play defense, or they were arguing with the referee. So, yeah, to your point, I will say it's definitely, I don't know about the European guys not coming if they didn't change it, because, I mean, why would you not come anyway? Because you're going to get a bag.
I do want to bring this up real quick just to respond to it, because there are a lot of points in this that I do absolutely agree with. The NBA stopped being entertaining when they made playing defense illegal because the European players threatened to stay in the EuroLeague because they felt the 90s NBA was too physical. The first team to really start bringing over the European players was the San Antonio Spurs. And if you know anything about the Spurs, Greg Popovich, they played tremendous defense, right? Then they brought over, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, who came from South America, Thiago Splitta, as well too, Boris Diaw. These guys all made their name and made their hay.
Tony Kukoc.
Kukoc came over, right? Listen, the NBA changed their rules to make it more appealing because they wanted less fights. They wanted less WWE drama, right? What I am saying is that I think it's backfiring, because what they've turned the league into now is that not playing defense has become okay. Now, when we look at it, we project it onto the Euro players because we say, look at these soft white guys who are out here running up and down the court, not playing defense, so on and so forth. However, if you talk to professionals that play overseas and play in the NBA, they will tell you that it's easier to get a bucket in the NBA than it is to get in some of these other leagues.
Correct. So they definitely said the European League is much tougher.
Exactly. They play tougher defense. It's more competitive. There's and what I'm saying is that we've lost this through everybody being buddy. Everybody just loving each other and no matter what, and hanging out and sharing girlfriends and so on and so forth. Well,
examples, please. Examples. Who's passing around the girl?
James Harden, who went viral for having the clip of his girlfriend catching the bouquet. She was previously the girlfriend of Lou Williams. She's previously the baby mama of Mario Chalmers, right? So there is like a certain circle of these. I don't know. It's weird to me, dude.
Basketball
it's really weird to me. I do agree with some of your points, but I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that when it comes to it. And I think the NBA is to blame for trying to make it. It is probably more global now in terms of everybody being able to watch and palatable. But there was a rawness in the NBA back in the day that we loved. Like let somebody punch somebody else in the mouth and not suspend them for an entire year, please.
Go ahead. Try to drive down the lane. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Hey, look, the lane's wide open. Come on in. I mean, to that point, the lane would be completely wide open and nobody would drive the lane.
And it's funny.
I don't know if that's good basketball,
but you're watching some of these replays of even going back to, let's say the Kobe and Shaq era, right? In LA, when they were making their run, those games were played like in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like it was like 86, 81. It wasn't this crazy up and down 120 points. Did you have some of those anomalies sometimes against the Kings? Absolutely. Because that's what it dictated. But I mean, I think that's why the Celtics are basically going to win the series, and it's not that close, is because they actually play team defense. They rotate together every single time. They close out. They're a better team. They're a better everything. And if you look at, there's like these clips of Luka just getting blown by over and over again by every person on the Celtics, and it's alarming, man. It really and truly is. And that's part of the problem.
And he's going to be one of the highest paid players too. Supermax. So great point, Timothy. Great point. Just to wrap it up, because we're going to get back to the NHL before we move on. So again, we're going back to Edmonton. It would definitely not surprise me to come back to Florida tied 2-2. Definitely not. And I don't even know what a better hedge might even be, instead of just taking them
over on games.
Nah, just take Edmonton and 7. I mean, what? That's got to be something. I mean, because like I said, if they do come back, it's going to go 7. There's no doubt.
So you could Edmonton in 6 or 7. You could do you could split it up between 2 small units and probably get a better price, right?
Well, so Edmonton to win the next 4 games is only plus 1,100. To me, that should be huge. But Edmonton,
so what's in
Edmonton
7?
To win 4-3 is plus 650.
Okay, so what I would do instead of taking the plus 350 is just split the 2 bets between 6 and 7. Take whatever you were going to hedge out on that and split that number in 2 on game 6 and game 7, right? Obviously, you're going to put a little bit more of that half unit size on game 7 and the smaller one on game 6, but you'll still get the same odds.
Even another good one is you can actually, there's a series handicap bet where you can say, do the Florida Panthers win the series by 2 games, 4-2? Or you could say, does Edmonton win it by 1 or lose by 1? Wow.
It's too much there.
Yeah, it's nice to see that they brought it all up after I tried to hedge my bet. So thank you very much. Shout out Hard Rock. But we don't hedge in DGen Town. We keep it up. So Timothy, thanks again for your comment. So let's get over to the NFL that we were just talking about. The NFL is heating up. Mandatory OTAs are on the board. Some players not showing up. Some players showing up. Some teams look to be very cohesive, and other teams look to be in shambles. As we talked about a few days ago, the Hard Knocks will be in Chicago. I cannot. Whatever. It's not up for me. But you know what was funny is I was going to say something about the NFL when we were talking about the other, and I can't remember what the hell I was going to talk about. But I digress. Aaron Rodgers not at the mandatory 2-day minicamp. Not a big thing in my opinion. He does have a very important event that he has planned for the next 2 days. So Robert Saleh was on the commentary basically saying it's an unexcused absence, but we know about it.
Yeah. I think it's a big deal.
Go ahead, Jeffrey.
I do, because I think if you're going to come out and say that we need to get rid of all distractions that aren't about being inside this building and winning, so on and so forth. Okay, cool. But your actions, what you do speaks so loud that what you say I cannot hear. So your actions speak way louder than your words. And you not being there is the biggest F you to the rest of your teammates. There's something that's more important to you than football and possibly your last year. That's the problem and issue with Aaron Rodgers. That's why the Jets will go nowhere this year.
Completely disagree. What? So you're telling me that 2 days of practice are going to have a monumental impact on the Jets season?
They're about to be off for a month, Tyson. You can't take 2 days to be there. What have you had? Where have you had to be so far in this past month?
What if he's getting married?
Season, huh?
What if he's getting married?
Pick a different fucking weekend, okay? We tell WNBA players not to get pregnant and plan it out well, right? You're telling me that you can't plan something out a little bit better to show up for work and be there?
Maybe he's pregnant.
Come on, bro. Come on.
Maybe he's pregnant.
I'm not buying it. I think he's full of you know what. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets announced as the vice president candidate for RFK. He's all over the place. He's not focused on football.
I think that we can both agree, though, that outside of whatever job that we do, but there are greater things than our jobs, correct?
Obviously.
Okay. Well, that's all I'm saying is, football is definitely important. Very to him, he's already a multimillionaire. He's already set for life. If he ever has kids, his generational wealth will be set for life. We don't know what he's doing. And whatever he's doing, he has said is more important than football.
To him.
Isn't that all that matters? Just to your point, is what you said. It's like when you put time off into your employer and say, hey, I need these 2 days off to do something. They're like, well, no, it's more important for you to be here. Well, fuck you. I'm not coming.
This is what happened. This is exactly what this is. And then they come out and they slander you and they say, blah, blah, blah. And
I didn't see any slander coming from the Jets. The Jets, I watched the Robert Saleh press conference.
That it's unexcused. Unexcused means that you told him no and he went anyway.
Yeah, so they could fine him.
Okay,
get that money.
Why couldn't they do that in closed doors? Why couldn't they say?
Because it's public knowledge. Because you got Adam Schefter, or you got all these reporters that are at the mandatory minicamp saying, "Where is Aaron Rodgers? Where's Aaron Rodgers?" That's my issue. Is because
we have excused him from these 2 days. He has something that's very important to him, and we support Aaron Rodgers in any endeavor that he wants to do. We look forward to having a great season with Aaron.
Wouldn't that be great if all of our employers did that? Wouldn't that be great?
Instead, you come out and say Aaron Rodgers is not here and it's not excused, and you cause this right here, this circus.
He said the exact same thing. It is an unexcused absence, but we are aware of it. He had something an engagement that he let us know about, and he will not be here. They didn't shit on him.
They are shitting on him subtly, very subtly,
bro. Yes. They would.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to say that. Okay. They would do whatever Aaron Rodgers wants to do. They are so desperate to have a quarterback that can throw the ball and keep them in contention. And to your point, with that mentality, why not just say, yes, he had a very important 2-day thing. We know about it. It's an excused absence. That's it. Why does it have to be unexcused? Probably because there's something in the language of the union contract of these mandatory things that they cannot excuse or there's probably like 3 criteria or something that can be excused: death in the family, birth of a child, or something obscure, and it didn't fit those 3 categories. So therefore it has to be an unexcused absence because it's in the language of the contract. Otherwise, everybody could say, I was doing that as well. Don't find me as well. So Aaron Rodgers probably said, hey, look, find me. I've got the money, because it's a blanket policy. That's going to be.
There's no way there's a blanket policy, right? What
100%? It's in the union contract.
Absolutely not. What if your aunt or uncle is struggling with substance abuse and you have to go take them to a rehab center? Do you think they would excuse that?
That would be one of the excuses. Yeah, absolutely. Or if there's
Not
a death in the
according to what
family.
you just said. That's not a death in the family. Nobody died.
I said death in the family. I said a pregnancy, and I said the third one. I didn't give a specific, but that would fall under it. Yes, a family emergency. That would be
of like 4 different things that could happen.
Give me another one.
Would
Give
be
me another
like,
one.
okay,
Give me another one.
You know, I do understand. Oh, let's see. I just had a fire at my house. I need to go take care of something.
Natural disaster. Yep. Excuse.
So now we're adding things to this criteria.
I'm sure it's in there. Go ahead. Give me another one.
Justice wants to know if Baker's about to be cooking with Sterling Shepard. Justice, we will get there. By the
Kyle
way,
Trask is going to be cooking.
You know what? I don't really care about this Aaron Rodgers thing that much anyway. Let's just move on. I do want to say this.
Kyle Trask breakout
I was thinking about this. How, Trask has been on the Bucs for what, 3 years now?
Yeah, this will be his 4th year. Last year of his rookie contract.
3 years in a row, the Bucs have not had an injury to their quarterback.
Oh, it's happening, baby. And did you see Jason Licht also came out and said, I have no regrets.
Is wild.
He said, I have no regrets of drafting Kyle Trask. I would do it again.
Yeah.
So it tells me that there's something there. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option, but there's something there.
Well, you don't need to pick up his 5th-year option. It's just wild to me that he's been the backup the entire time and never played it down. Played one down. One down.
He played a couple series in Atlanta.
He did play the Atlanta game. That's right.
And he also came in when Baker was hurt and threw an absolute dart to Chris Godwin in the corner of the end zone, which Godwin dropped.
To answer your question, is Baker going to be cooking with Sterling Shepard, Justice? I don't know. I will say
I didn't even see that. When did they sign him?
4 days ago. Sterling Shepard sitting at home. Him and Baker Mayfield played together in Oklahoma. Really good friends. Baker texts him, hey, how's everything going with the baby? He goes, great. How's everything going with your baby? Great, blah, blah, blah. Shoot the shit back and forth. Hey, how you feeling lately? They threw you up another wide receiver, and I really want you here. He says, I feel great. I was just running today. He goes, all right, cool. They called Sterling Shepard, flew him out the very next day to Tampa, had him work out, signed him to a contract that day.
It's a nice, deep key piece, I think. I mean,
and Baker, obviously you tried to do the same thing when you had Russell Gage. I do want to see what Trey Palmer evolves into as well, too. I could see Sterling as more of like a kind of a gadget guy, maybe slipping from a slot to next to the quarterback to out of the backfield. 25 is a weird number for me to see him rocking when it comes to that. Obviously, 3 wasn't there, and 80 whatever he were, and New York wasn't there as well too. But to see a guy be so excited, thinking that he's done with the league and he's done with his career and everything's over, to now stepping back into a role on a team that hopes to probably compete and stepping back into play for his best friend and Baker Mayfield as well too. Just kind of a cool story as well. The cohesiveness the Bucs have. Speaking of cohesiveness, we talked about no TAs as well too. Tristan Wirfs did report to the mandatory minicamp. He's not participating though. Contract holdout right now. Him and his agent are doing things, which makes me think that things are on the cusp of possibly getting done, because they don't want him to practice for the sheer sense of they don't want him to get hurt during these negotiations, and for something to creep up. So I from what it sounds like, they are negotiating. We will get this done before the season starts, and the Bucs will have the immaculate Buccaneer fan off season. We signed everybody that we wanted to. The guys who we didn't care about left. Life is amazing. I don't care if we win or lose anymore. I got the guys that I want to ride with, and I could not be absolutely happier. Truly, truly amazing. Also, I didn't know that we had Randy Gregory on the Bucs until they announced that he was skipping OTAs. So that was an interesting thing to me as well too. I guess he's suing the Broncos. Did you hear about this?
No.
So he's suing the Broncos because he was prescribed some THC, whatever it was, and took them, and I guess was flagged for it or got in trouble for it or something like that. And so he's trying to be reimbursed through doctor's orders that he was prescribed this, and that they have no right to be able to tell him no. So 3 times says Gregory could be fined up to $100K. I don't know what the contract he signed with us was. It couldn't have been too crazy. I guess I didn't know he was on the team.
I don't know. I did see this tweet that I sent out to the group the other day. I don't know who this is. The ILAN NFL Twitter account that went all in on Gervon Dexter for the Bears.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
do you know who that is?
No clue.
So basically, he tweeted out, or he sent it was from the Illini Bears talk, was the original one. Said, drop your hottest take about the 2024 Bears season before. And this guy, tweeted, Gervon Dexter and Zach Pickens are quite underwhelming and not trustworthy to make an impact on the defensive line. To which Gervon Dexter Sr. replied, don't delete this. And I absolutely love that. And then this guy continued to double down. Bears defensive tackle more focused on replying to me than working on his pad level and pass rush moves. LOL. Gervon Dexter, week 18 versus the rival Green Packers. 0 pressures, 0 sacks, 0 hurries, 0 batted balls, 0 QB hits, 0 tackles. Not what you want to see out of your franchise DT. I absolutely love this. Gervon Dexter has more career replies to me than pressures on the Packers. I love it. I absolutely love it.
You love it from the troll side or from the player side?
I love it from Gervon Dexter's side.
Okay.
That he sees that the chatter that's going on about him, and he said, "Don't delete this. Keep this."
This dude just seems like he's trying to get clout. Obviously, now we're talking about him on a podcast. Shut up. You know what I mean?
He's followed by let me see. Oops, I just lost it. I want to say he has like there are some serious. There are some. I mean, he's got 5,000 followers. I just don't know who he is. Yeah, I don't know.
Bunch of bots. Did you see now that going forward on Twitter starting next week that your likes will not be public? Do you know how you can go right now and you go and you see what somebody's.
That's how a lot of people get in trouble.
People get in trouble. People get fried.
They like the political posts, and all of a sudden they're coming to with the pitchforks.
Elon's getting rid of it. He said no more. You're not going to be able to publicly see what somebody likes. So
I like it, I guess, right?
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
I mean, I will say though, like sometimes though, it does bring you a little bit of clout. Like I remember, like a few times, when Nick Merckx would like my post or do whatever, like it brought more people to my page
for sure.
So I think in that aspect, it'll probably be something that affects. One more time.
I said he's in some hot water right now, right?
Is he? Why?
I don't know. He said something on stream yesterday, I guess. Well, last thing I'll say about NFL.
From what? I missed it. From his comment on that Libs of TikTok thing?
Something about drag shows and
Oh, well, I mean, he posted something on Twitter that was a response to the Libs of TikTok posted something about the gay pride or something of that nature, and it was a speech from a drag woman or whatever it is, I don't know, and basically saying, we're coming for the kids, like, you might not try to keep us out, but your kids will know who we are.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, so I think it was that, but I mean, like I said, he's not wrong. I mean, what are you doing?
One
Happy
last
Pride
thing.
Month.
I'm just curious before we move on from NFL. Christian McCaffrey, cover of Madden, the new Madden. Does it make you want to stay away from him in fantasy football? Just signed a big contract, cover of Madden. There's a history of the Madden curse.
Nope.
You got the number 1 pick. You still taking Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah.
Cool. Me too.
But I'm also used to losing. So I mean, I'm used to. Yeah, I'm used to not. I mean, it doesn't matter. I could have the perfect all-star team. Every position I could have the number one. I could have J. There was a team, Jeff, that I had. I had Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, both, and didn't make the playoffs. So I think you're still frozen, but I'm going to keep going anyway because I know there's a reaction in there somewhere. So yeah, it doesn't matter who I draft. I have the kiss of death when it comes to fantasy football. So it looks like we have lost Jeffrey. 3-time, you want to jump in for a minute? Since we have lost Jeffrey. That is quite the stare that he has going on there, though. It does not look like it. It is going to resolve of its own accord. So to Jeff's point, the Madden curse on the cover, it is what it is. A lot of times, it's just one of those things where maybe it's willed. Obviously, there's a lot of issues in the NFL. There he is. A lot of issues in the NFL. There's a lot of obviously opportunities to get injured. I don't think it's a real thing. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I'm not. I don't think it's a thing per se. I think they want to make it a thing because so many times they've been featured and then bad things happen. Hey, there's Jeffrey.
You go ahead and finish your statement. Go ahead and finish your comment.
Continue.
I think if you
It's
look
just a
at
pleasure to see you.
It is.
Good morning,
ladies
guys.
and gentlemen. The three-time, the man behind the producer, the three-time Emmy Award-winning, nominated, something of that nature. I think he's got an Oscar or two in his shelf as well, and he's with us.
No. I think it's people talk about it and they think it exists. Antonio Brown was on it and he went crazy. We've got
ESPN Brown.
Oh my God. I mean, like it's funny. I was reading the article a little bit before you guys were talking about this, and it's just, Eddie George had a good year, but then he had a high number of fumbles that year, Dante Culpepper, then he went 4-7 the next year. There's some bad things that have happened to people.
Stories on there somewhere, right? Wasn't Michael Vick on there? Wasn't Tom Brady on there?
Tom Brady
Peyton
broke
Manning
the curse, like 5 years ago.
I would have to think Peyton Manning was on there at some point, maybe even Eli.
Vic fractured his fibula 1 week after week 1 after being on the cover.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that was a bad example. Well, why don't you stick around with this three-time if you'd like to, because we're getting onto some really, really heated topics here. That's right. It is a record at the Uninformed Fan. I do believe it's 4 shows in a row. We're talking about the WNBA once again. Caitlin Clark left off of the U.S. Olympics team, which has caused quite a stir throughout whatever the sports community is with the WNBA. Davey Portnoy coming out also saying the biggest mistake. Even Stephen A. Smith came back and said what a mistake it was to leave her off. I am one of the few that disagree from a technical standpoint, from a growth of the game standpoint. It's an absolute miss. However, I will say U.S. Basketball came out and said she just needs a little bit more time. I can agree with that, but then I also can agree with, what Stephen A was saying, which I don't agree with a lot of what he says, but he's like, whoever the last person is that got selected that team that's probably not gonna play anyway, you could just put her on there to bolster the WNBA as a whole, to bring more eyeballs to it, and to, again, grow your game. Now, so when we look at something like that, does somebody get on a team because of talents or what they bring to the table? That is a big question mark, because it's not the WNBA. It is the Olympics. However, I cannot deny his point of whoever took the last spot, the impact that they could potentially or potentially not have on the game versus what Caitlin Clark could bring to the team, to the game. And let's be honest, I mean, she can shoot the ball. I mean, and she's going to get open. So I don't know, Jeffrey. I know that you're pretty hot about this topic, as you are our resident expert on women's basketball.
I think there's like twofold to this, right? Like, so she didn't make the team, is what it is. If they would have said that she didn't make the team, she's young, she needs like another couple years. All right, cool.
They did say that.
But the fact that they the first thing they came out and said was that they didn't want her fans to be the millions of fans that she has, they didn't want them to be upset by her not playing.
I didn't see
which
that.
is an idiotic comment. That was the first report that came out. And my question is that, okay, I don't care if millions of fans are going to be upset. I want millions more eyes on my U.S. Olympic basketball team. I think that it's should she have been on the team? That's debatable. Would I rather see her than 41-year-old Diana Taurasi? Absolutely. In her 7th Olympics or whatever it is. Like, who cares? Like, I could care less about seeing Diana Taurasi. You know what I mean? I think the U.S. Olympics women have lost 1 game since they began this, however many years ago. So you're obviously just going to keep on rolling through everybody. But yeah, you had an opportunity to bring more eyes to the sport. You know, now they're saying there could be something that happens with an injury. She might be the first alternate. Whatever, dude. For me personally, I'm more excited for this chick to be able to take a break for a month, man. Like it
And
is
that's what somebody else said. It'd be nice for her because she's been nonstop since college, went
dude,
straight into
like,
the WNBA.
go
Give her a couple of months off.
go take a month off, go drink a dirty martini, go have a one night stand with somebody, like go like live like 21, 22-year-old life that you are not getting an opportunity to be a part of right now because you're carrying an entire sport. Okay, like give this chick a chance to I'm cool with it. Take some time off. I probably wasn't gonna watch it anyway. Would I have watched it if she was starting and if she was, you know, her and Angel Reese are on the same court together? Absolutely. Like I'm there for that drama.
Angel Reese didn't make it, did she?
Nope.
No, but what I'm saying is that would have brought more drama and attention for me to be able to want to tune in.
Yeah.
And the people who are tuning in right now are me. The WNBA just announced their numbers. They have the highest numbers in the history of the WNBA in 26 years. They've never had these type of numbers before. They're doing incredible
sales.
They could have kept the momentum going. They didn't.
Attendance is up 133%.
133% attendance is up. It's an incredible thing what she's doing and what she's done for the sport. It's a shame that these girls don't want to embrace her, that they'd rather punch her and keep her down because they're jealous. There's nobody who's more jealous than women in life and who hate other women more. Dudes don't do this shit to each other. Only women do. That's all I'm going to say, and I'll let the 3-time take go.
That's a bad take there. I'm going to separate myself from that comment from Jeffrey. But to your point,
nobody hates women like women, bro.
I thought about what you just said yesterday, right? So, like, if that was me, and I was, let's say I was a superstar, right, of the WNBA, whatever that entails. I was a superstar. I was one of the league's best players, and this girl comes in. All the attention is around her. She has done nothing in the professional league yet. She's getting all of the special attention, all of the eyeballs, the jersey sales. She's made more endorsements off her before she ever stepped foot than I probably made in my career. I think it takes a very special person to be able to put all that aside and say, okay, but she's bringing more to the table for the game in the long run than is going to be that impacts me, because I know that I can take her one-on-one anyway. She's not that good as far as she can shoot the ball, but she has to get open to get that. And we've seen a lot of turnovers and stuff of that nature now that she's in this league, the passes that she was trying to make in college. So I think that it's a very fine line to what you're talking about, and you're not wrong. I'm just saying I'm trying to look at it from someone else's, not Angel Reese's perspective, because that has no validity to me. Because, you know, when she's sitting there saying, you know, it's not about this one person right now, I'm bringing people too. Okay, you might be, but you're not bringing it to the impact that she is. I'm more talking about the veterans or whoever you might consider to be the best player in the NBA. Like let's just say Candace Parker was still playing, right? I mean, we can all agree Candace Parker is probably one of the best NBA players. Or, you know, or Diana Taurasi or something of that nature. And then, you know, to have, there's definitely some jealousy and animosity because these kids are also coming in with NIL money that they made more in college than these women have made in their entire career. I think it's a tough pill to swallow is all I'm trying to say when it comes to that. And it takes a very big pill to swallow to be able to try to see the bigger picture and how it might help you in the long run. But in the short run, it's like getting kicked in the nuts. I would have to believe
it. I agree with that, but I also think if you look at the roster is made up of players that they said no one is under the age of 26. They pick players that are established that you know can play, and we have seen play. And yeah, we got
Taurasi's 41.
I was just gonna say Taurasi's in her seventh one. But I said over 26. There's every player on that roster.
I'm sorry.
Nobody under 26.
That's my bad.
Yeah, nobody is under 26. Everyone on the roster is over 26. So they wanted a veteran team, and that's why Taurasi's in there. But you know, the list of players. I mean, like, you know, you got Asia Wilson, you've got Breanna Stewart, Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu, Brittany Griner. There's been questions of why she's on the roster. Brittany Griner, she just came back like last week. I think she's played 2 games this season from an injury, and people are like, well, why does she get to play? Well, because she's still one of the top players. Well,
she can manhandle these women.
Tyson's favorite guy.
I'm gonna send you something right now. You're gonna
Juwana Man, dude. We're
Oh,
watching Juwana Man in real life.
Because we got to move on to Gap
But-
Wedge anyway.
We do, but I mean that's why they said they wanted a team that's established, and yes, the eyes would be great. But I also heard something like I listened to a lot of other sports talk radio, and like Dan Patrick said, is she one of the top 12 players in the WNBA right now? No. Is she one of the top 10 draws in the NBA? Absolutely. She gets people to come to games to buy the jerseys, like you said, but she's not. And he compared her, and I know this is probably I'm gonna take some heat for this, but he said, listen, if you want to see about what being good to great is, think about when Michael Jordan came in the league and he was trying to score all the points and he was getting beaten because he was a skinny kid from North Carolina and he was getting his butt kicked. He said Caitlin Clark has to take the same mentality that she's getting pushed around, she's getting bodied. Okay, so take some time, get your body right, get yourself bigger, and become and take that next step. So that's where she has to go.
I will say this, and this is the last final thought I have, and I'm done. We can move on and call it a show. I think the way that she has responded and the way that she has reacted to all this has only endeared her more to all of her fans, right? Her getting hit and dare we say bullied or ran all over the court or back screen, whatever it is, she's taken it with a grain of salt. She said that it's part of the game, it's part of competition. She feels no ill will toward anybody about any of it. When it came to the Olympic thing,
what is she gonna say?
Okay, let's look at what some of the Chicago Sky players have said in interviews after games, right?
Yeah,
what a dumb question. What a terrible thing. Listen,
you can talk shit about a white girl, though.
There's a different level of professionalism that Caitlin Clark has brought, and I think she's been fantastic. I think she has only grown her fan base. She'll only continue to grow her fan base, and that's why so many people love and support her as well, too.
Her fan base reminds me of Donald Trump's fan base. They are just, no matter what happens, they are Caitlin Clark or bust.
Right.
And she can do no wrong in the world. She can do no wrong. Whatever she says is 100% truth.
Stay tuned for Gap Wedge Wednesday.
Make the WNBA great again. What a campaign slogan. What a campaign slogan she has there.
Please don't.
I'm just saying, her fan base just feels like a cult following. It does. That's all there is to it. We do have the U.S. Open. So wrapping that up, we do have the men's U.S. Open, which the boys are going to break down in our next segment with the Gap Wedge Wednesday. So be sure to tune in after that. Other than that, if I never see you guys again, it was a good run. I hope that everyone enjoys their life. I know my wife will with her life insurance policy. Wow. So God bless her. God bless America. And please, even if I leave, if I'm gone, if I never come back, please, I'll be watching. Stay out of the left-hand lane, man. That's all I ask. Remember me by that. All right, everyone. Peace.
RIP logo.